Good morning. My name is Daniel Butler. Today is the best day of my life. Today's video is in reference to just like recidivism. Recidivism is the rate at which individuals return to prison. The state of Georgia has one of the highest percentages of recidivism just based on a number of other facts. And we've either touched on them or will touch on them. But I was talking to somebody that I was incarcerated with, and we had a homeboy who like he just went back to prison like for some major charges. Like he's probably never going to come home again. And this is an individual who did, I think, like 10 or 11 years. And we was having a real heart to heart, like, bro, how could you go back and how could you do this? And I had to defend the brother, not in reference to his crime, because I'm not going to even get into that, but just in reference to the mind state and the mental health of an individual who is trying to hold on to something or trying to find grip, man. Okay, so I got locked up at the age of 19. I came home when I was 29. So that's 1996 to 2006. Put in the work. I got a full pardon from the state of Georgia, which allows me to have, custody of my child, the rights to run for office, and the ability to carry a firearm. And I've worked on projects with different entities, different nonprofits. They actually paid me to go back into the prison system and start working with individuals like 6 months prior to their release. I worked on the program or with the program in Clayton County where if I could catch individuals who had a particular crime, if I could place them for 90 days, and it's a youth challenge, teen challenge, a job, the army, college, if I could get them placed for 90 days, then in Clayton County, we can get their records expunged. I'm saying all that to say that like I have some history on both sides of the spectrum. And I can't point at an individual and say that you should not do this, you should not do that, because I understand that it's not just what we see on the surface. Sometimes there's this mental and strategic mishaps that take place. Sometimes the connect is not there. And one of the elements that is very important is like support. A lot of times when people feel like they don't have support, man, I've known guys who've done like 10, 15 years and can't come home, stay 5 or 6 months. Some of them not even that long. I first want to say that, unfortunately, while you're in prison, like, if you're able to, so-called rehabilitate yourself or get rehabilitated or pick up a trade or something like that, man, that's a blessing. And it sounds real good. But sometimes, man, you got to put that plan into action. And when I say put it into action, like when you do hit the streets, because all the plans you had, man, I wish it went the way that you wanted it to go. But it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you slip and you fall. So I had one of the guys that was telling me, he was like, man, you do this and you do that. Man, listen, man, I'm not any different from it. Right? I'm afraid to break the law right now. I'm 45 years old. So technically I've aged out. I ain't running from no police. I ain't shooting at no police. I ain't stealing nothing. I ain't selling no drugs. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible criminal. And I realized that. And I would rather be poor on the streets than to be breaking anybody's law. And that's just the butt naked truth. Like, jail is too high tempo for me. And I have aged out. I'll be 46 in a couple. Damn, I'm gonna be 46. But I'm gonna tell this story, man, just so. Let me make sure the years. Okay, so my 25-year-old, who's almost 26, I came home when she was 9 years old, meaning that she was born while I was in the county jail. I missed 9 years of her life. Still have some guilt about that. I mean, I don't know how a man or a father or a man who says he's a father or pretending to be a father could not have something, within. And, you forgive yourself and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, man, you still have that in the back of your mind, and it's just the honest to God truth. From the time that she was going to Tony Elementary to the time that her first day of college, when I came home, I made it my responsibility. I really wanted to gain time with her. So I knew that if I picked her up and I took her to school, and I pick her up from school and I bring her home, then I would get some type of interaction. And I wasn't trying, I know I can't make up for the 9 years that I missed, but I'm gonna try to get as much time as possible. That means I'm gonna be the last person you talk to when you go into their school, and I'm gonna be the first person that you talk to when you come home. I just dropped my 9-year off at school, and it's a weird transition because Summer is 9, and I was the first person to hold her, and my oldest was 9, and I never got a chance to do any of that. And I just think about all the things that me and Summer have done, man, and to miss those 9 years, man, is detrimental. Nevertheless, working through it, it's a continuous process, man. It's not something that's done overnight. We're not at odds. I love my child. She's my best friend. She held my back. She taught me how to be a father. So the time is, this was like a couple of months after I came home, man. And I used to get up in the morning. I think I was living in Conyers, Stone Mountain. I used to get up in the morning, and I used to go to Decatur, pick Dayana up, take her to Tony Elementary. So she used to call me when she was ready for me to pick her up. She used to call me. So at some point in time in my life, man, I was just on, I think I just could not find my way. Mind you, I'm fresh home. I'm looking at stuff around me, and I'm like, man, all these plans you had to get this done and get that done, it's not really coming together. One of the things that really threw me off is that I tried to go get a job. I remember I tried to go get a job. I'm not gonna say the name of the place, but it's right on Covington Highway. We had worked there when we was younger. And when I was filling out the application, they asked me, like, have you been convicted of a felony in the last 5 years? Technically, I had not, because I just did 10. But my mind was so geared. I was free, but mentally I was still locked up. So I just wrote like a page explanation as to, you know, why, the details of my crime, like, unnecessarily. And fact of the matter is, man, like, I was slick escorted off the premises. And I can see why, because I was still rough around the edges, and then I'm explaining stuff. Like, if the paperwork said, yes, I have been convicted as a felon, of a felon. But they asked, have you been convicted of a felony within the last year? Technically, the last 5 years. Technically, no, I got convicted 10 years ago. So it didn't even apply to me. It didn't even apply to me. But I was just I was still locked up. I was still trying to embrace it. And I feel like everybody watching me. I feel like, man, like, I don't know what to do. I want to apply chain gang rules to something that we not in chain gang. I'm not a boy, Damon. You be trying to find your way, and then you don't want to, for me, I ain't gonna say nobody else, for me, I was trying to find my way, and I wanted to I didn't want to be known as the dude who just got out of jail and couldn't control his temper and all this stuff. But in fact, all those things needed to be addressed. So in short, not really in short, because I'm definitely giving you the long version. But so I decided to pick the pistol up. Yup, after serving a decade of my life in chain gang, after missing 9 years of my daughter's life, statute of limitation. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, man, I decided to pick the pistol up and attempted to rob somebody. Unsuccessful. So at one point in time, I started driving an ice cream truck. And this is, if you didn't needed some work and you was trying to hustle up some money, man. The ice cream trucks out there on, I forget, I want to say Chattahoochee. The ice cream trucks in Atlanta, man. Listen, you had a valid driver's license and you can make them folks some money, they will give you an ice cream truck. So that's what I did, man. This was before I bought my own ice cream trucks. This was before I went to Atlanta Tech. This is before I got my financial aid. This is before I started doing moonwalks. This is before I started trying to save the world. I'm fresh out. I still got that chain gang glow. So I'm driving the ice cream truck. I'm hustling. Running into a lot of people I ain't seen in a long, because you're on the ice cream truck, man, you move around. But so I'm on the ice cream truck, and then like old habits kind of die hard, or I don't know what it was, man, but I was in a different place. So somebody had dropped a bug in my ear about somebody who might have had some extra money sitting around. And so on the, me being on the stupidness, I just started watching this individual. So every day that I was in that ice cream truck, I would go to this individual neighborhood, man, and I would just watch him. And I would just pick up on this habit. I probably watched this dude for like good 30 days. I knew everything. I know what time everything was going down. Everything. I would just watch. I know how many people was in the house. I know the size of the people. I just watched. So, mind you, some idiot put me on to the dude. Had no business dealing with this dude at all. So I hollered at one of my homeboys that I had been locked up with. He was with it. So at the time, it was an abandoned house across the street from this individual. And so I had watched him so hard, I knew his habits. I knew that car that was sitting outside was not his. That was a female car. And so I knew that based on his habits, that he was going, whenever they got done doing what they was going to do, because she was going to be gone before they had to go to school. The children had to go to school. So I knew that before the sun came up, he was going to walk her to her car. The plan was when he walks her to her car, we putting the pistol on him, we're going to walk them back into the house and we're going to get everything that we need to get. That's how simplistic my mind was. And so we waited. And then we waited. And then we waited. And when the door opened, I'm like, bet, it's gut check time. It's gut check time. It's still dark outside. My homeboy, he ready to rock and roll. Mind you, I ain't never did no dirt with him. I don't know, it is what it is. I'm out here. I have tried to block out everything that I have gone through. And when I'm looking at it, now I'm just like, man, you really had like some angels and some ancestors and some God. Like when they say like God save dummies and stupid people, oh man, they talking about me. So when the door opens, sure enough, here she go. Sure enough, here he go. Here we go. Unfortunately, he was not on the same page we was on. So when they came out the door, instead of walking her to her car, boy, he hit her with the peace sign. When he hit her with the peace sign, he watched her walk to her car. In the doorway, it was not really lit up, but one of his arms could not be seen. And in my history of doing dumb stuff, I just learned, man, that, sometimes you want to travel the road of least resistance. I was like, nah, it's not a good time. I said, you got to regroup this thing. Regroup it. We regrouped. She pulled off. He went back in the house. I said, what's going to have to take place is because they're going to get up in a little bit and he going to walk them children to the bus stop. My ignorant ass When he do, we have to take them all back in the house. So we sat there and we waited. And we waited. And I had my phone on vibrate. My phone rang. It was my child. And she was like, Dad, I'm ready to go to school. Man, my stupid butt just like, I broke down right there, bro. I was like, you just missed 9 years of this child life. And all you wanted to do was get out here and show that you could be a man and show that you could be a father and stand up to your responsibilities and handle shit like a man. And here you is in the same situation that got you here. How did you get here? Why are you, what is going on in your mind? So needless to say, the robbery didn't take place, man. And my homeboy was looking at me like I was on some foolish stuff. The irony of that is that we was on some foolish stuff, bro. When I heard my child voice, man, that thing, it hit me different, man. It just brought me back to reality. And it made me look at myself like, I was just like, I tried not to be hard on myself, but I'm just like, man, what would that look like? What would that look like to miss 9 years of your daughter's life? You get banged up for armed robbery. You shoot somebody shoots you, you get killed. Bro, she didn't even get a couple of months with your little stupid butt. And you putting it all on the line again, bro. And that's why it's hard for me to point the finger at somebody and say, how could you do this? Man, listen, man, when you go through any amount of time with trauma and you don't get, listen, that rehabilitation sounds real good. It sounds awesome. But even in definition, it's some weird shit. Because to be rehabilitated means that you was habilitated before you got here. If I was habilitated before I got here, meaning that this is when I broke the law, this is when I put the pistol on somebody, you're going to take me through these 10 years and I'm going to be rehabilitated. By your definition, I'm going to be mentally and emotionally right back where I was when I was doing the ignorant stuff. So that is what it is. So needless to say that after that, I never put the pistol on nobody. I never attempted to put the pistol on nobody. I told myself, I was like, man, if you have to be homeless, if you got to go live with a relative, whatever you got to do, and I had to do that, bro. I had to go live with my mama at some point in time in my life. I had to go live with my dad at some point in time in my life. That's just the reality of the situation. That's just it, man. I just like, I had to get it together. I'm thankful that I had a support system of people who was like, had my back. They didn't know what I had done, but they still had my back. And I found out like maybe 2 or 3 years later, man, that the dude who dropped the bug in my ear, he dropped the bug in somebody else's ear. And I guess they was more active. They was more active or younger. I don't know who those individuals are. I heard about them, but if I seen them walking down the street, I couldn't point them out. But they tried my man. They tried the same dude. And that hand he had that was not showing, he had a pistol. He had a pistol, man, and they got into a shootout, and they end up killing the dude. They end up killing the dude, and now they locked up for murder. Forever. The guy that I laid on had watched for months. Somebody else ended up robbing him. And they ended up killing him. And now they locked up and they ain't never coming home. So I consider myself to be aggressively blessed. But it'd be hard for me to judge anybody that say, I ain't saying that, man, look, I'm just going for everything that you tell me, but it's hard for me to judge somebody who made a mistake and who keep making a mistake. I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm saying that it has to be effectively addressed. Your support system got to be in place. Your spirituality got to be in place. And you got to have the support system is the strongest, man. I would say the support system, because had I had not had people who reminded me that, you know, of what I wanted or what my goals was, sometimes you forget your way, man. And if you don't surround yourself with people who are moving in a certain direction, you can surround your people that's moving in the opposite direction. And that could be the difference between life and death. I'm proud to say that, like, man, I've never like interacted on that level since then, but I should have never been in that situation. I should have never been in the initial situation. But I think that an individual's mind and their perception of the world and their perception of where they're placed in the world is one of the biggest elements of recidivism and breaking the law and shooting people for stepping on your shoes. It's where you think you are, your empathy for other people, your understanding of how the world works, that ultimately determines what your outcome will be. I'm not glorifying doing nothing. To break the law is illogical. It does not make any sense to break any form of law at no point in time. Shit is time consuming and it's expensive. And when I say expensive, I'm not even talking about the monetary aspect. I'm talking about your spirit. I'm talking about your spirit and your mind. It's expensive. It's expensive. I'm going to get back with y'all, man. My name is Danon Butler. Today is the best day of my life. While they playing your little song, man, go on and do your dance.